think of the internet as basically like giving rise to a new continent. Okay, imagine an Atlantis that just arose out of the middle of the ocean, and people were just taking commuter flights there back and forth each day. Okay, so you'd spend 8 hours in Atlantis and 16 hours at home. That's really what the internet is. You know how I can prove that?
Well, we're in it right now.
Well, right, exactly. Like one way of thinking about it is ask themselves what percentage of their time they spend, their waking hours, do they spend looking at a screen of some kind? Okay, whether it's a laptop, mobile phone, tablet, their smartwatch, something like that, right? What percentage of that time is that for you, Steph?
I unfortunately have to say it's probably like 14 hours a day, but I'm probably an
Something like
outlier.
that.
I'd say probably the average person though, right? It's a third of their day, maybe 8
That's
hours.
right. So what that means, and that's up from basically zero in 1991.
Yes.
Right? So, this Atlantis, this cloud continent, right? So just to extend the metaphor, we're taking these commuter planes up to the cloud continent 14 hours a day and coming back, and we're only spending 2 hours of our waking lives, in your case, on the land and 14 hours in the cloud, right? For other people, it might only be a few, like 3 or 4 hours, but like that's amazing. Billions of people have migrated huge chunks of their lives to this cloud continent. Okay. When I say billions, I mean like 3 something billion just on Facebook, right? And you add all the people with smartphones and so on. So let's say it's on the order of 3-4 billion people in the world. Half the people of the earth are now spending half their lives in this cloud continent, half their waking hours. Okay. Up from nothing in 1990 something. When we think about that, that is actually a different way of visualizing the whole thing. And you realize the internet is actually on par with the discovery of the Americas for the Europeans, right? Yes, of course, there were people in the Americas before the Europeans got there. I talk about this in the book, actually, that like if you go and look at the Bantu expansion or the Mongols sweeping across the world, there's essentially no ethnic group that has ever had some location since time immemorial. They just killed the previous folks and kind of took over their territory or whatever, right? So leaving that whole part of things aside, from the perspective of the Europeans, like quote, the discovery of the New World was this, huge thing. Similarly, like the folks who went over the Bering Strait, their discovery of the Americas was this huge thing. It was this new frontier, right? Which is obviously thousands of years earlier. This internet frontier where we've migrated to will over time give rise to new countries, just like the Americas did, right? The Americas, the people came there and they didn't think of themselves as American or Brazilian or Mexican or Canadian or something like that. Nowadays, North and South America they're all, slotted into the same grid as like the old world, right? But initially they thought of themselves as English or French, or, they were colonists, they were settlers, right? They didn't identify with the new land as primary and the old world as secondary, right? They didn't think of themselves as a Polish American or English American, right? They thought it was just English. And that's similar to folks who spend all of this time in this cloud continent, but have not made the flip, right? You're spending the majority of your time in the cloud continent, but you're not thinking of yourself as a cloud person
Yet.
first yet.
Yet is the key word.